And so we literally just walked in the door. Nothing like being prepared. And by the way, that's one of the things I want to talk about at the very beginning here is being prepared, because I had a couple of people who haven't been prepared, and because of that, had a kind of a rough time. We don't want that to happen to you. Okay, let's see if I can get another phone here. Give me 2 seconds. I've got to get another phone so that I can make sure things are working, and I'll be right back. Hey, Tammy, would you get me a red wine? Okay. All right, we've got some people who are ready. I'm going to turn my phone on. Take me a couple of seconds to get this thing fired up. Hey, we've got Wicked Good Bulldogs is here from Maine. Good to see you here. And we've got a few of you who are here right on time. So you've done rather better than me on this. And I'm a bit tardy, but as long as so someone give me a thumbs up on the sound. Let me know the sound's working okay. And it looks like it's working okay. Got to get this phone fired up. It'll take me a couple of seconds. There's one already open there, Tammy, I think. All right. Hey, 2 thumbs up. Hillside Kennels. Sally says, Sally Choppy's my sister. She helps me so much on this stuff. Not so, I mean, a little bit on the lives, but on generally all the stuff that we do. My sister, she's pretty clever. She thinks outside the box, and she is really good at helping me kind of stay on top of stuff. So thank you, Sally. And then she just watches over there, so that there's a problem with the feed, she can call me up and say, hey, something's gone wrong. Take care of it now. Okay, I'm getting ready with this phone here. And then I can see everybody. Let's have a look here. Close that. Takes me a few seconds to get this set up. We're getting there. It's thinking about it. It's thinking. Oh, Forget Me is here from Australia. Always good to have you here. Yeah, I'll take you. I guess it's, we've already talked about this before. I guess it's early morning for you there. Do I want to update my watch? No, I do not want to update my watch. What I want to do is I want to see the live. And okay, Love My Pups Live. Now I can see all the things you're asking me about. And sorry, I hate this with your phone where you get all these silly offers when you first fire your phone up. All right, let's have a look here. Still working on this. So let's have a look. Life with Siberian Huskies has got a question here. I'll get to you here in a second so I can see these questions. And come on, let me in. Sorry, still fighting, getting the live to come up on my screen. And it's still fighting it. Come on. Still getting them. About to get there. Let's see if this works. Follow this link. Copy. Go to Safari. Open the link up. Still thinking about stuff. Getting there, almost there. Still getting there. Silly phone. Come on, phone. All right, hopefully this works. And all right. Still working on it. Come on, phone. Tammy, can I have your phone? Phone just died on me. What is up with this? Sorry, folks. We're going to get another phone here. I can't see your questions, otherwise, when they come up on the screen. So, see, Tammy will give me her phone. So, technology is wonderful. Let's say, okay, so Life with Husky, get ready to breed our Zoe to our Dipper. She's on day 3 of her heat. It only has a pink discharge, and very occasionally, I didn't read the rest of it. So I didn't see the rest of it because it flashed across the screen so much. But here's the deal. First signs of heat, you're not going to get really big, solid blood. It's going to take a few days probably for that to really start happening. So you know, day 3, if you'd be very, very surprised if the pink meant this dog was ready. Thank you, Tami. Okay, here we go. Let me see if we can get into this now.
Even orthopedic doctors are using it.
Lord.
Orthopedic expert recommendation. Cervical traction pillow.
Gotta wait for somebody's.
By more than...
Hey, everybody.
No, that's not it.
So maybe you've got questions about breeding dogs, questions about getting dogs pregnant, question about...
Okay. All right. We are finally there. There we go. Now we see your questions now. How amazing is that? Oh, here we go. Fashion Forward Mum's with us. Great. Always good to see you. He says, don't forget to give a thumbs up. I agree 100%. Hillside Kennel says, yep, do that too. Greetings from Delaware, from Life with Siberian Huskies. Hillside Kennels is with us. Wicked Good Bulldogs is with us. Sally's here. Amber's here. Hayden is here. North Country is here from Maine. Good. Rhonda's Lee's with us. Nacho's with us. Hillside says, hi, Sally. Loved your dog food video you did with James. Actually, that's my other sister, Debbie. So Debbie, just to show you that she knows what she's talking about, she is she's on the board of a number of different companies, and she used to be the head of what the name is it? It's a dog food company. They did really well when there was this Chinese debacle went on with the dog foods that were a problem, and I can't think of the name. It was a high-end dog food company. Anyway, she knows a lot about dog food. She knows a lot about dogs. All right. My sister says you're the best brother. I have to be the best brother. I'm also the worst brother because I'm the only brother you've got. So that's not much of a compliment. Hillside Kennels. If my puppies are up and walking around at 27 days, can I start them on mush or not? They don't have any teeth yet. They are Shih Tzus. So we're looking at about dogs that are coming up on 3.5 weeks. You're a little early, but try it and see. There's no harm in this. The problem you'll have is that some of the smaller dogs may not take to it very well. And so I would not separate them from mum. I would separate them from mum when they get their food. I put a plate of food out, take mum away, see how they do. And, you know, sometimes you get some dogs that don't take to it very quickly or not, you know, they're getting beat up by the other dogs, not getting much to eat. So just be careful of that. And it's definitely at this point you want to be monitoring their weight to make sure they're getting that ½ ounce every day. And if that's the case, you're on track to do the right thing. So no harm to try it. Typically, we wait till about 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, till, depending on mum. Thank you, Tammy. 4.5 weeks before we start putting them on mush. Sooner if mum's having a rough time. Maybe the later if mum's been a really good mum. Okay. So, you know, if you've got a lot of dogs and mum's starting to look like hell because she's been pulled down so much, she's got to produce a lot of milk, then do it sooner. Okay. Where was that other question on? Okay, here we go. Life with Siberian Huskies. Getting ready to breed Zoe. She's on day 3 of the heat, but only has a pink discharge and very occasionally tiny drops of blood. Also stopped eating well. Is that all normal? So, you know, first thing is, don't get worried until day 7. It would be the soonest I think I've ever bred a dog. And typically by day 7, you've got 30 red blood, and it doesn't go pink until typically around day 9. It could be sooner, but it's not going to be day 3. She's just coming into her heat. As far as not eating food, hormones are all over the place, right? So, you know, she may be thinking about trying to find a mate as opposed to eating food. Who knows what's going on in her brain? But I wouldn't get too worried about this either. So I'm sure that her appetite, so typically, you know, dogs get bred and then, you know, they can start to have morning sickness. They can lose their appetite. You know, things can kind of go a bit haywire the first week after the breeding and maybe a little bit beforehand. So I wouldn't get worried about this. I mean, the only thing that I would do is this. If ever you've got a dog that's acting like it's not normal, what do I always say to do? Take its temperature, right? Most dogs' temperatures, you know, 100.5 to 101.5, completely normal range. 102 or higher, that's of concern, go to the vet. If you're sub 102, everything's going to be fine. Vintage Doberman Finches, I'm here, good to see you. Hillside Kennels, oh, I am a fashion forward mum. Okay, I didn't know that. Bruno, hello to see you. And Tammy, happy Memorial Day. Question for you. The folic acid, when you start to give pregnant mum, when do you stop? Start giving 5 milligrams of folic acid from the day that you breed until the day that she whelps. And look, if you're late doing this, still do it. I think probably the most important time to have the folic acid on board is the first month of the pregnancy, because it helps with birth defects that are probably associated with things like gastrulation. It's something where the cells start dividing at the very beginning part of the whole pregnancy. But regardless of that, there's no downside to giving 5 milligrams of folic acid. Remember, most of these things you get, like Oxymate, Oxymama, they have 800 micrograms. People think, oh, that's a huge amount. It's not. Micrograms, it takes 1,000 micrograms for 1 gram. So 800 micrograms is only 0.8 of a gram. You need 5 grams, about 8 times as much. So you can't give enough Oxymate, Oxymama to satisfy the 5 milligrams. So go get the tablets. You can buy them on My Breeder Supply. I'm certain you can buy them for humans. And look, there's no difference between folic acid, whether it's for a human or a dog. It's folic acid. There's no difference. Just the dosage is what matters. Lewis Penner, I have 2 puppies, almost 6 weeks old, and they are adorable. Isn't this a great time? I love puppies. I mean, especially when they start to develop some character. You know, they got to get their eyes open. They're not doing very much until they're 3 weeks old. Then they're starting to move around, and that's when they start to get fun. And then over the next few weeks, they all start to develop different characters, and it's a good time. Hillside Kennels. There are 6 puppies. Mum is looking good. I can't stand to stay away from them. They are almost 2 pounds to 1.3 pounds. Yeah. So you probably told us in here how old they are. I don't remember the answer on that. I know I've been talking to you about stuff. But as long as they're gaining, so look, people get worried because they've got some small puppies. So for French Bulldogs, my rule of thumb is if I've got a puppy that's born at 7 ounces, that's, so they're 27 days old. Okay, so yeah, so 2 pounds is plenty. I say, so for me, for a French Bulldog, a 7-ounce puppy at birth is one that I'm going to keep an eye on. A 5-ounce puppy is definitely going to get some special attention, because they're going to lose half an ounce over that first 24 hours. That's going to put them at 4.5 ounces, and that definitely is pretty fragile. Now, if they get cold, they get in trouble in a hurry. Be careful on those sub 7-ounce puppies. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ounce puppies, they almost always do absolutely fine. Certainly for the first few days. They can have other problems down the road, but just I would pay special attention to those small puppies. So she says, mine are the ones that were 1 ounce when born. You really mean 1 ounce? I know we talked about this before. What kind of puppies are there? 1 ounce is not French Bulldogs. A 1-ounce puppy is very, very small. They're Chihuahuas, Shih Tzus. 1 ounce, good Lord. That, I mean, I don't know what's the normal weight on a Shih Tzu. I mean, 5, 6 ounces? 1 ounce is tiny. So if you raised a 1-ounce puppy and got it to 1.3 pounds, you did a good job. That is normal. Okay, it's normal. All right. So I don't know much about Shih Tzus. We raised some Shih Tzus a long time ago. I've slept since then. I forget. I'm getting old, damn it. Oh, cheers. Glass of red wine will help me bring my memory back, hopefully. We'll see. Okay. All right, so I'm going to talk, since people haven't asked a lot of questions yet, a couple of things. We need more thumbs up, so do that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should do it. It's nothing to lose, other than the annoying dings every now and then. You can always turn that off. It'll let you know we've got videos coming up. And I mean, I used to do tons and tons of whiteboard videos. I haven't done any bit. We've been consumed with moving from one house to another, getting this house we're in right now ready to put it on the market. I will start doing more whiteboards, but it'll probably be another couple of weeks before I will get back into it, because I think they're beneficial. I've got so many things I want to cover that I haven't covered in a while, so I will get back to that. All right. So I want to talk, while we're waiting for people to ask some questions, about that's 5 weeks pregnant. Has not been wanting to eat. Okay, so the answer to this question: I have a pug that's 5 weeks pregnant and has not been wanting to hardly eat for about a week. How can I expect that to last? Well, so the answer is obviously, you know, think about you and me. If we didn't eat anything in 5 weeks, only had water, we would definitely be losing weight and we'd get in trouble. So the question gets to be is what is going on? Is this because the dog's not feeling well because there's something more serious going on? And of course, the thing that you think about is pyometria, an infection of the uterus. And that would be indicated by a dog that either is having a kind of a purulent discharge or at least has an elevated temperature above 102. Take the dog's temperature. It's back to this same thing. If a dog's not doing what you think it should do, always take his temperature. Temperature is 102 or higher, you need to go to the vet because something not good is going on. You need to get on top of it with antibiotics. But look, you can mix up the food, right? You know, one of the things that seems to really work well is hand feeding a dog. I think they think something special is happening when they get hand fed. And so dogs that don't want to eat will quite often will take food from your hand and hand feed. And of course, the other thing is to generally give them something that's a bit more interesting than just their straight kibble. I mean, some scrambled eggs. Put a dollop of some little bit of cottage cheese on their food. Don't go overboard. Go get a can of dog food and mix it up with their kibble. Now, all of these things, by the way, one of the things that we feed later on is biljack, which is in the frozen section. And it's kind of a moist food that you have to unfreeze it. You can't get that if you are west of the Rockies, but our dogs like that food. And so typically we don't have a problem with dogs not eating very much as they're going in through their pregnancy. So, but again, take the dog's temperature, make sure. Elliot Frenchy Farm says, this is my favorite show of the week. What, better than Netflix? Good. Are the studs you have on My British Spy the only studs you have right now? Yes. So right now we've got a couple of boys that aren't ready yet. We've got Husky and we've got some pink carriers, fluffies that are coming up, but they're not ready yet. In fact, I have a sister of one of those dogs that we're keeping as a breeder for ourselves. But on My Breeder Supply, we have Gobstopper, who is a full fluffy new shade Isabella. He's a really pretty dog. He's not big, but he's got a big head on it. We have Rohan, who is a new shade fluffy. We have Phantom, who is a roho. Is he a roho? He might be a blue that carries roho, fluffy, big rope. We have Mando, who is a blue and tan, carries cocoa and cream, fluffy. He's been a very, very successful dog. He produces the prettiest merles, produces harlequins and tweeds. We have Gibby, and Gibby is a lilac that carries cream. By the way, none of these dogs carry brindle. They all carry tan points. So Gibby is a lilac and tan, carries cream, and no pied. He is a very short, compact dog. And then lastly, we have Clooney, and Clooney is our oldest male, and he is a AA recessive. So that means he's AA. He can produce 10 points, and he is a lilac. So he's a solid color lilac. A small dog too. So there's our current dogs. Natural Line says, I heard it could shock the sample from rapid temp change just to play it safe. So what you've got to be careful about is you absolutely have to cool semen down slowly in preparation for shipping it. You will cold shock it. If you take semen from room temperature down to close to freezing temperature in a matter of minutes, you will cold shock a lot of the semen and kill it. So with our shipmate product, it takes 4.5 hours. It's all regulated by a computer in the box. It takes that sample at room temperature, I'm talking in centigrade here, 25 degrees centigrade, and gets it down to 5 degrees centigrade in 4.5 hours. The other end of this is when you take it out, now we could put a program in there to let it warm up, but we don't need to. And remember, when you take semen out of that environment and you've got it just in a syringe, it's going to get up to room temperature probably in 5 minutes. And it's not a problem at all. You will not warm shock. Raising the temperature is not a problem. Cold shock, cooling it too quickly is a problem. So Hillside Kennel says, can you mix a shot and then refrigerate it and it still be good? So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking here, but if you use Shipmate, absolutely, you can take multiple samples and store them. You can put them in Shipmate. You will need to put extender with it. You will need to take the Shipmate product, cool it down. The kind of thing that you can do is you can take a sample from a dog, put extender with it, put it in Shipmate, put it in the fridge, 4 hours later, it's at fridge temperature. You can take the sample out of shipmate, leave it in the fridge without it being a shipmate, take shipmate out, go collect another sample from your dog, cool that one down slowly, and put that in the fridge. And you can keep on doing that. And then you could potentially ship all of those samples at one time in shipmate. You've got to make sure that shipmate is at refrigerated temperature when you take those cold samples in the refrigerator, that you put them in shipmate that's already been in the refrigerator for 4.5 hours. And then you'll be fine. It works great. Absolutely, you can do that. And then also with shipmate, now you can get a sample that's been sent to you and you do, so the problem always is, when should I ship? I don't want to be late. But the problem gets to be is if you ship early and your dog's not ready, what do you do? And the answer is shipmate. If you use a quality extender like the one we sell, a Canna Plus LT 10-day extender, you can keep it in shipmate for days. I mean, I've kept semen alive for 10 days and it's still okay. It's certainly not as good after 10 days as it was when you first got it. But, you can certainly keep semen alive and be viable semen for 4 days with it. So if you run into a situation where you find out that you're early, you did a progesterone test before you did the insemination, you find out you're early, leave it in the fridge, leave it there, and wait till your numbers are right. Okay. Forget-me-nots from Australia says, hi, my pup is 5 weeks and about to return 6 weeks and 2 days. He is a singleton and doesn't want to try the kibble mush with warm goat's milk. Do you find moving from mush to kibble is difficult? Well, no, not typically not. But I mean, so part of the problem is he's spoiled. He's got mum with a great milk bar with no competition. He's just spoiled. And he likes being with mum. And, we just got to work at it. I think he'll be fine. But, there's no, look, I've had dogs that have been with mum until they leave. They're on kibble at that point, but they're still with mum, getting milk off mum. And, sometimes mum will nurse a puppy up until the moment it leaves. As long as it's eating kibble before it leaves as well, you're okay. Always warm up shipment dog sample. So sure, I mean, if you want to hold it in your hand, if you want to, I mean, again, I can tell you, it doesn't matter. I know this because I've done so much of it. It's not a problem. And if you took the temperature of a syringe that had been taken out of shipmate and left on the counter, I would guess after 5 to 10 minutes, it will be close to room temperature. So, but if you're worried about it, you can always put it into a bath of lukewarm water, not really hot if you want to. So let's have a look. Hillside says it's in the fridge now, so mix it and then get the shot out. Put it straight back in the fridge. Nacho Line says mix a shot like tequila. I'm not sure what you're mixing. When you say so now mix it and then get the shot out, put it back in the fridge. I'm not sure. You got to tell us more about what you're mixing it with and why you're mixing it. If you've got a shot in the fridge, it should be, when you say a shot, a sample, it should be ready to go. You shouldn't have to mix it with anything. Life of Siberian Huskies, where is Tami? Well, we've been moving and, we literally drove up here just about a minute before the show started. And so she doesn't like to show herself when she's all sweaty and nasty. So the beautification process my beautification process, this is as good as it gets. It takes me 30 seconds to comb my hair and get a drink, and I'm ready to go. Tami, on the other hand, takes a little bit longer. And so I don't think she may show up, but I've got a feeling you won't. So sorry about that. And by the way, while we're talking about sorry about that, last weekend, sorry about the crappy video issue. We tried to do this driving back from graduation about 150 miles away. And because of that, we dumped the phone call on the way. And if you dump the phone call, you have to restart it up again. A lot of you are clever enough that you figured out what was going on and managed to get on with it. But I mean, I lost quite a few of you, and I'm sure I upset people. So sorry about that. Lewis Penner, okay, when my dog is in heat again, I want to purchase the stud semen for you. I just want to make sure that was all of the studs. It is all the current studs. Everything you see there are current studs. And remember, there's something else that we do, which is different than most people. If you use one of our studs, then every single female that you produce from that breeding will get lifetime half-price breedings. You come back to us with one of the girls that you produce, and you can do this over and over and over again, every time you come back, it's going to be a half price breeding. And it will be a half price breeding for all the girls you produce from that. And so the advantage of this is, of course, you take advantage of a half price breeding. Great. The other thing is that when you sell those puppies, that people can come back to us with those puppies and they will get the same advantage, which makes those puppies more desirable, and you'll get a high price for them if they sell more easily. You may have your own studs and you may want to offer that anyway, because you don't have to take us up on that deal. But most people do, and I think it's pretty beneficial. And I'd say something else too. Oh, there's lots of questions you're going to have, especially the people who are starting out with this, about breeding dogs, about the mating, about the timing the C-section, about whelping dogs, about marketing dogs. We're here to help you through all that. In lots of these places, and I have to put up with it myself, because we go outside to use semen from other people, and I give them some money. I never hear back from them. I don't hear crap. I mean, they're done. As far as they're concerned, their part of the business is over with. They're not here to help me. That's okay for me, because these days I really don't need the help. But I think it's really poor behavior. I think that you should be interested in what you're producing, and you should find out, what's going on. And I think you should participate in that. And we do. So we just pat ourselves on the back. I mean, in this day and age, I think service is lacking. And certainly, it's like, how do you like it when you call up a place to go get some help, and you're on the phone pressing buttons to get to the right place, and then one of two things happen. You get disconnected. Maybe you end up with somebody who's in the wrong department, or you talk to somebody who doesn't know crap about what, you know more about the product than they do. I hate that. I mean, it just POs me. I think that's poor service, and especially when you're buying, stud fees aren't cheap. I think that if somebody's getting thousands of dollars from you, they should be participating and trying to help you as best they possibly can. So that's the other thing, of course, that we give a guarantee on our stud service. If you use one of our dogs, if you don't get a litter out of this, then you're going to get retries. And so there's a darn good reason we want you to be successful, because it's not like we care, we don't want retries. We're going to do retries, but what we want you to have is a nice litter of healthy, happy puppies that you can make good money on, so you come back and do it again and say nice things about us to other people. I've gone on too long about that. Hillside Kennels. Yeah, like the liquid we're talking about adding this shot. Yeah, like adding liquid to the powder shots. Not semen, a shot like PG600. Well, PG600 is a pig product for pigs, to bring pigs into heat. So you wouldn't mix PG600 I may be off the topic here, but PG600 is an injectable. You don't put it in with the semen. You give that beforehand to bring a dog into heat. You need to be careful with PG600. I'm not a big fan of it. Some of you have used it, but I think that you'd only use that if you've got a dog that you've been trying like crazy to get this dog into heat and it hasn't worked, and you're about to give up on the dog, and it's been a year and a half. The dog's 2-3 years old. You haven't had a heat cycle. You might want to try the PG600. But I have read things about PG600 kind of mess up the heat cycles. So, all right. Natural Line says, I think you've got a dog with a singles in her, single puppy. This is always problematic. And the reason it's problematic is because the reason typically that you've got a single puppy is because you bred early or late. And because of that, your timing for your C-section is going to be off. If you bred late, puppies show up early, and you get in trouble with having a single puppy delivered a couple of days, 3 days before you expected it. Or the more likely thing is you bred early, and now the puppies appear to show up late. And so you take puppies early in desperation. And when that happens, you end up with premature puppy and you get in really big trouble. So be very careful. And singleton puppies typically don't produce all the signals, temperature drops, progesterone levels that you see, and they tend to go long. They tend to go long anyway. So be very careful on singletons. Natural Line probably knows that. Oh, Hillside Kennels. Okay, you want to know whether you can keep the PG600 in the fridge after you've mixed it. Well, no, you can keep it for a little bit. I think the shelf life, once you've mixed it, is fairly short. It might be a week or 10 days. It probably says on the label. However, there are some things that you can do, and it wouldn't be approved, but what I've done this for customers who've used PG600, I haven't had a lot of experience with this, but you can do this. You don't need very much of it. You got a hell of a lot more in the bottle you're ever going to use. You could draw off some of that, just a little bit, rather than mixing part A with part B in toto. You can take a syringe and take out a cc of it, of both parts, and mix them separately and leave the other stuff alone in the fridge. So you've never mixed it up. So if you've mixed the whole thing up, then you're already committed. The fact that that's got to be used up fairly quickly. But if you only take part of it out on both samples and mix them together independently, yeah, you can keep it forever. Okay. Elliot Farm says we should offer that to Iggy Pops, talking about the half price. Yeah, you should. I mean, it's a really, I think it's a great way to get customers. So I highly recommend it. I'm giving away secrets. Do you first vaccinate at 6 weeks? Yes, we do. So we vaccinate at 6, 9, and 12 weeks. Some vets do it differently. Some vets do 2 weeks between vaccinations. Some do a little bit more, but you don't want to go too much out of this 3-week window. You don't want to start too early. 5 weeks, I think, is probably the earliest. If you do it too frequently, too early, then mum's antibiotics get in the way, and the last shot gets in the way, so it's not as effective as it could be. So for us, it's 6, 9, and 12 weeks. And Tammy's saying 15. What's the 15-week shot, Tammy? There's Tammy right there. Wave at us, Tammy. Come on, wave at us. There she is. There she is. What are you doing back there? Oh, okay. Hey, Hillside Kennel says hey. Hillside Kennel says hi to you. Okay. She'll be on next week. Cynthia Gale, is it safe to give Safeguard, which is fendobendazole wormer, goat wormer, to a puppy if they took HeartGuard 3 days ago? 9-week-old puppy, yes, it's fine. So Safeguard is really safe stuff. We give it to our mama dogs 10 days before whelp for 3 days. It's very safe stuff. That's why it's called Safeguard. So no, I think it's absolutely fine. Not a problem at all. Nichelle Kemmer says, my girl is on day 10, still dark red blood, PG test is 0.62. What is going on? Well, give us a bit more information. How old is this girl? Has she had other heats before? That would be nice to know. I suspect she might be a young dog. And this happens. I mean, you've got these things called prolonged and split heats, where dogs, maybe go into heat, and then they stop producing red blood, and the whole thing, the progesterone numbers drop, and then they go back up again. It might take, it might have a week kind of layover kind of thing going on. Or you can have a prolonged heat, which is what we're talking about here, where the whole thing's very slow to get going. So she says it's the second heat. So how old is this dog? Is she 1.25 years old? Tell us that. But what do you do about this? Okay, what do you do about this? You just get on with it. Just get on with it. I mean, it's like, there could be some underlying reasons why there's a problem with the dog, but it's unlikely. I mean, the kind of reasons that you can have problems would be things like cysts, cancer of the uterus. This is presumably a young dog. I doubt that's the case here. But, you could have a thyroid condition. All of these things can cause things to go haywire. Specifically, cysts can cause funny things with progesterone levels. But what are you going to do? Just give it time. See what happens over the next 10 days. It'll probably all work out fine. The big thing you've got to do is get enough tests in that you don't, instead of 0.62, the first question is, when would you do your next test, right? I would say probably in about, I would say 5 days sooner if her blood color starts to pink up on you. The problem gets to be is you can spend an awful lot of money at your vet. Your vet wants to test every day or every other day, and they're charging you $100 a test. Now you can bury, $1,500 in tests if you're not careful. And by the way, that's the reason why you should have a progesterone machine, which of course you can go to My Breeder Supply and you can buy one right there for $2,700. and it's going to cost you about $10 a test, and then it doesn't matter whether you run a test every day because it's peanuts, as opposed to the aggravation of going to the vet. You're going to charge you an office visit. You're around other sick dogs. Now, I talked to you about things like being careful about things like canine herpes virus. Now, all of those things go away if you do your own tests. So Elliot Farm says, we bred our 3-year-old female at day 19. Absolutely, you bet. Nothing, I mean, certainly that's not the norm. Most dogs get bred between day 11 and 13. But if the progesterone level is still low, there's no point breeding at day 13. You're doing the right thing. I presume that you did a progesterone test. Tell us what your progesterone level was, and then we'll either tell you that you're, yeah. So Michelle Kemmer says, I do have a machine, but it's a heel vet. I don't know that machine, but I'm sure it's fine. And so that dog that's having the prolonged heat is 1.5 years. So this is not unusual. The first heat, typically in dogs that have heats before they're 1 year old, tend to be very kind of, ragged and not normal. And typically the second heat's better, but you just got to go with it. Cynthia Gale, do any of your dogs in your program carry a copy of IVDD? It seems to be very prevalent in the Frenchy world. Waiting a test back from AG, Animal Genetics. So the answer is yes. Typically, I have had dogs that I didn't know had IVDD until later on because that test wasn't available when those dogs were first run. Typically, short back, short structured dogs quite often have a copy of IVDD. I think that it's less of a problem than people think it is. And the reason I say that is because I think probably 1/3 of all Frenchies have a single copy of IVDD. Which means that if you assume that that statistic is right, then let's say that you've got 1/3 and 1/3, both parents, a 33% chance of having a copy of IVDD. If you put those two dogs together, then you'd expect the chance of getting a double IVDD puppy out of that is about 1 in 10. And since dogs typically have about 5 puppies, it would mean that something like 30%, 20% of all the pugs produced likely have 2 copies of IVDD. But we don't see a huge problem with this. I mean, I have seen dogs who've had slip discs, so I'm not going to say I've never seen a problem with this, but I don't think it's as big a problem. It's like DM in French Bulldogs is just not an issue, and yet people test for it and get very worried if they see it. It's completely non-event. I'm not saying IVDD is a non-event, but I don't think it's as critical as people might think it is. George Rodriguez says, on the topic of progesterone, why would a female stay in low numbers, 1.6 at day 5 to 10, then spike to a 10 or 11 at around 10, 12 days? There is no gradual interest, no cyst, no thyroid. Well, okay, it's going to be a gradual increase in progesterone levels? No, that's not the way that it works at all. There are 3 distinct stages in progesterone levels on dogs. The first one, we're starting over here. This is first signs of blood, so we'll call this day 1. Progesterone levels between day 1 and day 5 are less than 1. It takes a long time. It takes 5 days to get to a level of 1. Once you get, this is the typical dog. This doesn't mean it's necessarily your dog. And it doesn't mean it's a French Bulldog. This is any dog. But typically, this is what you see. First 5 days, it takes 5 days to get to a level of 1. It's going up slightly every day, but not very much. 0.2 a day, something like that. Get to a level of 1 after 5 days. Then you see this change of slope. Now it goes up 1 point a day. So the next 4 days, it goes from a 1, at 1 to 4 is 5. It gets to a 5, ovulation around day 9. So we've got 5 days of very slow. Then we've got 4 days of going up 1 point a day. And then we get this rapid increase where it goes up 70% every day. So normal numbers would be 0 through day 5. Progesterone levels are something around 0.2 to 1. Then day 6, 2. Day 7, 3. Day 8, 4. Day 5, day 9, 5. This is on an IDEX machine. We see the ovulation. Day 9 ovulation was a 5. Day 10 went from a 5 to an 8. And day 11 went from an 8 to a 15. So you can see this rapid increase, and that's what we're looking for. Now, different machines have got, although they're all supposed to work in nanograms per milliliter if you live in America, or nanograms per nanomole if you live in Europe, God knows why they don't all come back calibrated the same way. It just seems completely nuts. I've never had a straight answer. One phone machine reads higher than an IDEX. I've asked them about that. I've just got mumbo jumbo. I've never had anybody who's given me a sensible answer on this. But it is what it is. And it doesn't matter, because what you're looking for is this rapid increase after ovulation, whether that's a 5 on an IDEX or a 7 or on a 1 FO, or if you use a mini dividus, it might be a 12 or a 13. It all means the same thing. You're off to the races. You're going to be breeding that dog in a couple of days. Okay. So your dog, I don't think is particularly. Elliot Farm says she was at a 16 when you bred her. She was a 16 on an IDEX machine. You're probably fine. That's a good number. On the vet's PG machine, which is probably an IDEX. So that's a good number, right? Good, right. So there's some other things that you can pay attention to as well that would give you an indication you're in the right place. One of the things that really lets you know that you're in the right place, if you do your own insemination, if you get the rod in, you get the rod in, right, and you get it in and it goes in, and it depends on whether it's a big dog or a small dog, but you know, in a French Bulldog, you're going to get it in kind of that far, that much of the rod's going to go in. And then you start wiggling around and playing around and moving your finger around inside her, and all of a sudden it goes in another inch, inch and a half. And all of a sudden it just slips in a bit further. That's an open dog. That tells you that you're probably in the right place. And in those situations, you won't get blowback. You won't get a lot of semen coming out of the dog. It'll get absorbed really well because you've gone through a narrow opening. There's a narrow opening. It's not the cervix. It's a narrow opening that leads up to what's called the vestibule. If you look at the anatomy of a dog, you've got the vaginal canal, and then you have a narrowing, and then there's that narrowing. It's just hard to get the pipette through unless the dog is about the right place. It goes to a kind of a cave, and at the top of the cave, there's an opening. That's where the cervix is. It's a bit different than what you'd expect. It's not the cervix. This narrowing is not the cervix. It's actually a narrowing. It's the entrance to this, what I want to call, it's called the vestibule, but I call it a cave, this round structure, like a spherical structure, with the cervix being at the top of it. So you've got a dog that's really standing for other dogs, not sniffing at them. I don't care what the stud's doing, because studs are little horn dogs. But if the female will stand, tails off to the side, let the dog get up on her back, not walk away, do an AI, and she's really open, probably in a good place, probably going to be successful. Nacho Line. What do you all, she's going to get me into talking about my products here. I like you, Nacho Line. Thank you very much. You give me a segue into our products. What do you all recommend a single person that does work from 9 to 5 with no helpers to help when you have a litter? I don't want to end up with pups. I don't want to end up with dead pups. Is it possible to succeed? Yes, it is. So here are some things. So to set yourself up for success, whether you're a single person or not. Well, first thing I'd say is maybe it's time to start spending some time at church or in bars and pick yourself up a mate. So that's the first thing. Get somebody to help you. I've got a mate, my wife, Tami. She's very good at this. I've also got a great daughter, Chanel, who is also very good at whelping. So, you know, I'm lucky in that I have a backup. But here is the thing about this, and I wanted to talk about this anyway, because being prepared is, you know, they say dress for success, right? It's kind of the same thing in whelping. Get ready with the stuff that you need to make your life easier and be successful, because if you try and do that the moment the puppies arrive, you're almost certainly going to get caught with your pants down, right? So you've got to set up a safe environment for mum and her babies. So a lot of people, what they consider a safe environment is to take the babies away from mum, put them in an incubator, keep them safe in an incubator, and then put them with mum every 3 hours. You obviously cannot do that if you are a single person with a 9 to 5 job. This is not going to work, is it? And so, and you don't need to do that, and you shouldn't do that anyway. So what would be the right environment? Well, the right environment is, in my opinion, well, this is not just my opinion, this is tested. I mean, this is tested. We do this. We know this because we've developed and patented products that put put your money where our mouth is, right? So the environment is this. There's a number of things that you've got to do to be successful. The first one is puppies can get squashed. You've got to put them in an environment where there's a pig rail. There's got to be a ledge all the way around the inside of whatever crate you're using, or whatever whelping box you're using. So the puppies, if mum is going to fall asleep, she's going to do that. She's going to move around in her sleep, and she'll back a puppy up against the wall, and that puppy can get squished. If there's a pig rail there, the puppies are under the pig rail, and mum hits the pig rail first. The puppies are here. They have an exit entrance. They can get away from her, and they're not going to get squished. Fundamental. Got to do that. Not doing that, then if that's your single takeaway from this, then good. You've got to have a pig rail. If you don't have a pig rail, you are walking a tightrope without a net underneath you. You will run into problems. Don't even think about it. Have a pig rail. So the next thing is, I do not like a whelping box where mum can get out of it, because mum may decide that she doesn't like your setup. She hops out of the whelping box, or if you've got a baby paddling pool, she takes a puppy and she puts it somewhere else in the house. And she may distribute puppies in 3 or 4 places in the house, and they get cold and they die. So to me, you've got to set up an environment where mum cannot get out of it, which means that it's got to be, for us, it's a 42 by 28 crate. If you've got bigger dogs, it might be a 48 by 30 crate. Has a locking door on it. Mum's in there. She cannot get out. She's there with the babies. And you've got to make it so she wants to be with the babies. If you put her there in a situation where she's uncomfortable, she's too hot, she's panting, she's getting up and down, potentially steps on a puppy, you're screwed up. So you've got to make this environment so that mum is happy because she wants to be with the babies so that she can look after her babies. And you've got to have a pig rail so babies have a place where they're not getting squished. And that's why a heated whelping kit comes in this works so well, because it doesn't heat mum up. She's not uncomfortable. She wants to be with her babies. And the babies find the heat on the pig rail, and they spend most of the time under the pig rail where they're safe. So that's the setup. Now, what else should you have? You should have a camera in there, especially if you're going to be away. And I don't recommend that you be away from your babies for very much for the first 2 or 3 days. So maybe you can take some time off work. At the very least, you need to come home at lunchtime. So if you can leave at 8 and get back at 12, 4 hours, and then go back to work and come back 4 hours later, you've only got 4 hours we haven't been there, and have a camera in there so you can make sure that everything is okay. So a camera with a microphone, they're dirt cheap. You can buy one for $30. You can have them so that you can get to them from anywhere in the world. It just fundamentally just makes sense. So you have a camera so that you can we do this with ours, so that at nighttime, if I've got the bedroom door open for the first few days, and if I hear a baby that's crying, rather than getting up, I can look at the camera and see why that baby's crying. Almost always it's because it's being licked by mum, being cleaned up, and it doesn't like it. But if I see a puppy that's over in the corner and it's crying, then that means get out of bed and find out what the hell's going on and fix it. But yes, you certainly could be away, but just those first few days are the most tentative, especially if you've got a weak puppy. You've got a 5-ounce French Bulldog. You could take it to work with you in an incubator, not a traveling incubator. Take it to work with you, put the milk bottle in there, feed the puppy while you're at work. You can be the surrogate mum, and you could do all that while you're not even at home. So you could do that with a whole litter if you had to. I don't think it's perfect, but you certainly could do that. All right, so there you go. There's your solution. I've gone on way too long about that. Sykes Pups is with us. Says, my whelp box is 4x4. Will the heated system fit? Yeah, we can build it any size you want. Absolutely any size you want. Doesn't matter what you've got. You can make one out of wood. And I've got a video. You could DIY whelping box. You'll see how I made one out of wood panels that slot together. And I put a floor down, which is what's called Cor-Plastic that I bought from Home Depot. It's kind of a corrugated plastic. Stuck the heat tape to the bottom of that. Works great. So you can make one, a giant one. And if you've got really big dogs, we can build you a custom whelping kit that'll fit it. So you just give us the dimensions. We can do it for you. Absolutely. So Hillside Kennel says, yes, Nacho is brilliant. He is. He knows his stuff. Nacho Line, that heated whelping system you sell would be perfect from your website. Yes. Pig roll, yes, exactly. Exactly right. Hillside Kennel says, I would die without the heated whelping kit. It's so easy when you use the pig rolls. It is. Absolutely. It is. It is. Absolutely. Hillside Kennels, heated whelping kit. Can I turn it down? Babies are almost weeks, or keep it at 104. I keep it at 104 and I turn it off at about 3.5, 4 weeks of age. if you get to the point where the puppies are not staying under the pig rail, turn it off. In fact, at that point, you can probably remove the pig rail and give them more room when they're walking around, right? Which is, what do you think, Tammy? When do you turn the heated system off? 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
Yeah, so 4 weeks. Turn it off.
If it's not wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said they would die if they didn't have their heated whelping system.
Yes.
Every time that I had to be on my knees cleaning up the heated whelping system, the cage where Mama Dog is with her babies, and I was on my knees and
Talking about
my
the lift now.
elbows.
Now you're talking about the lift.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I die every time that used to when I was on my knees and elbows trying to clean those cages up. That's why that lift is so important.
Somebody talked about it here, right?
My
Yes.
sciatic nerve, my knees, just
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, so Tammy's talking about the lift. So the lift, we sell a lift. It raises it up to about waist height. So you can set a chair and you can do all the things you want to do with puppies and playing with puppies and cleaning stuff up while you're sitting in a chair, as opposed to getting down on your knees and just, it's even if you're young. I mean, Chanel, who's a 33-year-old, she has got a lift and she swears by it.
Is it about 48 inches high that'll go up?
No, it's a bit less than that.
Less than
It's
that.
probably about 30. It's not 4 foot. That'd be chest height.
You said waist, up to your waist. My waist is shorter.
Yeah, well, it might be.
Because I'm only 5
It says on the
foot.
side. I think it's 40 inches.
Is it
Whatever it is, it works really well. All right. Let's see. Elliot Farm says the PG machine, the incubator, the heated whelping system, all a must, in my opinion. I tell everyone about it. Can't imagine. Well, thank you very much. So appreciate that. So that was that one. Progesterone question number 2. I was told by a repo vet on IDEX anything after 11 is too late. No, absolutely not. They don't know what they're talking about. Told by a repo vet? Good Lord. That's idiots. I recently AI'd a female IDEX in 19 with 5 puppies born successfully. I'm confused with this. Yeah, they're full of crap. It's a repo vet. Good Lord, folks. No. I can tell you this. Dogs that are at 11 on an IDEX machine, the next day they might be back at a 7. So you think that they've ovulated, the numbers they've got, that they don't always. I mean, you don't want to start breeding on IDEX till you're a 15 and a half. And the right numbers to breed on the IDEX is between a 15 and a 20. That's the range. Remember, when you're a 15, the next day you're at a 22. It goes up really quickly. If you're a day off, you still get a good litter out of it. So anything, you don't have to get it bang on 15. You just got to get it 15 to 22 and you're in the right place. And I mean, I've bred dogs that are 30 and got them pregnant because we didn't realize we got numbers, and all of a sudden someone came to us to breed a dog. And dogs that are 30 on a fine care machine, we breed the dog, get a nice litter of puppies. So absolutely, 11's too early, I promise you. Good evening. Lots of people are saying nice things about our heated whelping kit. Thank you. Boss Money Worldwide is here from Brooklyn. Good to have you with us. Rhonda Lee has 2 heated whelping sets. Kit systems, both are in use. It's chilly and rainy and the babies are cozy warm. I have 2 lifts. I wouldn't breathe without these items. Yes, well, we thank you very much. So yes, yeah. I mean, look, I hate to make this just an advert for our products because I feel as though I'm a bit of a heel. I feel like a used car salesman. But honestly, we only sell things that frickin' work. And we work hard to come up with solutions for problems that we've had, which would be, how do you raise a litter of puppies without you having to ruin your life getting up every few hours to check on puppies? And the answer is the things that you need are a heated whelping system and an incubator. They're fundamental things. They're not desperately expensive. And if you don't have them, you will lose some puppies. And that's no fun. And it's financially not fun. And it's psychologically not fun. And it's not good for your mum, your mother dog. So I think that everybody should have the heated whelping system and an incubator. Now, there's other things that make sense, like oxygen machines. They're quite a bit more expensive. You don't need them very often. When you need them, you need them. But should you go get that? Only after you've got a heated whelping system and an incubator. Natural line. I made one with a kiddie pool and pool noodles and a heat cord on bottom, but it didn't get to use it. 9 pups with dry milk, mum dog. I had to hire a whelper. Well, I mean, so I'm not going to go on about this, but I'm not crazy about the pool. We do we do build a system, a hexagon shaped one that'll go on the bottom of a pool, but I don't think it's the right way to do it. So if you want to try and use a pool, we can give you a heating system. You can take some pool noodles and you can zip tie those to the edge. But for various reasons, I'm not a fan of it. Katina Pickett, I had a PG test on the new Wonfo at the vet's office, 2.7. They sent us to another branch office where they wanted another test. That PG came back at 14, at a 14 2 hours later. Older machine, so no C-section. Okay, talking about C-sections here. Yeah, well, I can tell you this. Couple of things. First off is that PG levels for C-sections can change rapidly. Certainly, if you went from a 2.7 back to a 14, it makes you suspect what the hell is going on. People can run tests wrong. People can mix up the reagents incorrectly. People can have the machine set up for serum when it should be in whole blood. People can forget that they've got to use a little blue vial to mix the stuff up in. You know, there's a number of things that can go wrong, but I can tell you that the thing that typically doesn't go wrong is the machine. And we've sold lots and lots and lots of machines. And I can count on literally just a few fingers where we've had a problem with a genuine problem with the machine that needs to get fixed. So, you know, you can have expired tests, they'll make things wrong, and you can absolutely get the test wrong. Hell, I do it myself every now and then. Every now and then I'll run a test and look at the numbers. It's like, well, that doesn't look right. And then I was like, crap, I didn't use a little blue vial. I forgot to do that step. So, Katina Pickett, unfortunately, lost the whole litter because they were overdue. Well, overdue doesn't normally cause that, so I'm surprised what's going on. You've got to give us more information about what the overdue part is. To tell us why they were overdue and what happened there, because the more common thing is that you take them too early. Lewis Penner, I lost 2 puppies to aspiration pneumonia. We gave them antibiotics, but they didn't make it long enough for the antibiotics to start working. Buy the oxygen machine just in case. Well, that's exactly right. So look, if you've got a dog that's got pneumonia, you need to get on it quickly, antibiotics and oxygen. If it's doing this deep, shallow breaths, a quick, rapid breathing, or its stomach's going in a lot, that's a sign that it needs oxygen. Think of it this way. The air that you breathe is 20%, approximately 22% oxygen. And oxygen concentrated produces oxygen that's around 90%. It means that you can take a third of the breath from an oxygen machine to get the same amount of oxygen you get if you were breathing it in normal air. So puppies that have compromised lungs, they're filled up with mucus, filled up with infection, and they can't breathe very deeply, they can still get enough oxygen if you put them in an oxygen-rich environment, which is what an oxygen concentrator does. And don't think about using bottles, because you'll run out of oxygen. You have to have a prescription for them, and it's a pain in the ass. Go get a machine. Yes, Tammy, it kills the knees and the back. The lift, I need it so bad. You do need a lift. And here's the deal. Our lifts are right now $295 all in. The price is going to go up because of the China costs. So I've got some left still, but I won't have them for much longer. I bought 150 machines, and I'm down to, I think, 30 of them left. So if you need a machine, I recommend you do it, because this next lot could be significantly more expensive. So Hillside Center says, I personally think that the heated whelping system is a must. Well, thank you. Stacy Willis, Cougar Mountain French Bulldogs. How are we doing on? So we're not doing bad on thumbs up, but there's about 20 of you who don't like us. I'm giving us thumbs up. It's kind of rude if you do something about that. Right, Tammy?
Yeah.
What do they need to do?
It's not rude. They just might have forgot about it.
That's right. That's right. Stacey Willis, Hillside Kennel. Yes, Mando from Love My Pups. He's amazing. I have 3 dogs now from one of his litters. So use them again with a different mum. I'm very excited he produced beautiful babies. He does. I think, Mando is he is our longest running stud. Well, maybe Stitch was if you go back. What do you think, Tony? Stitch was our first blue dog. But the point here is that Mando has been doing it for a long time. He's been producing puppies now for about 3 years, maybe a bit longer than that. And he's still doing great, still collects wonderfully. And he's got, Tammy's saying his structure's phenomenal, and it is. And he produced these tweeds and harlequins. He's a very successful dog. So
he produces beautiful structure and flashy dogs.
Full fluffy, full fluffy.
Full fluffy.
So give you an example here.
Short ears and flat face.
That's right. He's got nice short ears, nice rounded short ears.
Real stocky.
Yep.
Nice bone. His hips are great.
So the last litter that you had from Mando, where you had lilac and tan, full fluffy girls, what do they sell for?
Oh gosh, that was probably.
It's been a year. So I was going to say 18. Yeah, I was going to say 18. So you can see these are pretty sought after dogs.
Well, I got 18 for.
Yep. So my point here is that they're well sought after dogs, and so Mando really produced packs of them. Yep. Okay. I don't think so. Katina Pickett, who had that problem, said, "I don't think the second PG test was a one for machine. How do the numbers of different types run?" So Hillside Center says 1,800, 18,000, 18,000. So we've routine, and again, I don't want to brag on this because people think we're full of crap or whatever, but I mean we've routinely had litters that are between $50,000 and $100,000 litters from these dogs. And why is that? Because he produces some stellar looking puppies, and they go on to make great dogs. And of course, everybody takes advantage of half price breeding. They come back and breed typically our full fluffy new shade gobstopper and get a half price breeding on that, and they make some serious money. I mean, it's not all about the money. I don't want to just harp on the money side of this, but I mean, still, so Hillside says my baby's $1,200, and I'm lucky to get that. So I'm not sure what you're producing. I think you may be producing the Shih Tzus. It's certainly different leagues than the Frenchies. But I mean, why are we getting that kind of money out of Frenchies? Well, the answer is structure, pedigree, our knowledge, the way that we help people, the half-price breeding, all of those things all counter into this. I mean, it's all about what. Now, if you're buying one of our dogs, then you get in on the ground floor of what we do to be successful, and we try to make you successful too. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen every time, and it doesn't mean you're going to make the same kind of thing. You don't have the reputation we've got. You've got to get there, and we want to help you get there. So, it's I don't want to go on about this too much because I kind of start to sound like I'm bragging, and that's really not the intention here. The intention here is to get you to be as successful as we are. And it doesn't happen overnight. And I can tell you, the first dog that we bought, Tammy, what was the first dog? What was the first? Well, because there was Little Man, and then there was that.
That was our first stud.
Yeah. Right. And actually, he was a pretty good stud. But we bought some dogs we shouldn't have bought.
They looked like limousines.
They
were
long, brindle dogs.
That was
25 years ago. And they didn't work out. So it was okay, but it was nothing like what it is. So, you got to learn about this stuff, right? Okay. So Hillside Council says, yes, Shih Tzus, but no C-section, not as sought after as your Frenchies, I'm saying, of yours as a pet. So yeah, absolutely. So look, I mean, you should be breeding what you're passionate about. Why are we breeding Frenchies? Because of that lady right there.
Oh.
That's why we breed Frenchies. It's because she saw her first Frenchie on, I think it was on the AKC show.
Yes,
Westminster show. And 25 plus years ago, and she said, I love the look of those little dogs. And she started doing some research on it. And we were breeding labs back then. And labs were, they were, what, $1,200 dogs back then? We were doing pretty well. Yeah, $1,000, $1,200. And most people were getting $500 or $600. We were doing pretty good because of our pedigree and our colors. But then she got her first Frenchie. It was a different game, a lot more expensive, C-sections and all the other stuff that went along with it. But I can tell you, the very first litter that we had, it was like, yeah, we need to be doing more of this. We loved the dogs. We loved their personality. We loved being around them. And they had some very valuable dogs. It was great. It was really good. Colleen Bacon, is it raising puppies really as hard as you make it sound with all the problems and dying puppies? I'm not saying it's hard. I don't know why you say we're making it hard. It sounds hard. It's not. It's not hard. But the important thing here is is that you've got to learn about the things you have to do for French Bulldogs to be successful. Otherwise, you will run into problems.
You're helping people that do have that problem. That's why we're talking about it.
Yes.
Normally,
Yes.
the last problem we had was little Pixie, and you pulled her right through that. That was
So-
because her birth weight was so low.
When's the last time you lost a puppy?
Oh,
A long time.
yeah.
Years.
It's been, gosh, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, a long time. A long time.
Yeah.
Many, many litters since then. I mean, we have lost, occasionally we do lose a puppy. Pixie, some of you know who Pixie is. Pixie was a very, very small French Bulldog that we had to work really hard to get her to the point where she was
When she
7
was
ounces.
2 pounds at 6 weeks old, she was little.
And she, by the way, is a gorgeous little French Bulldog now.
Gosh,
She doesn't look runty. She just looks small, and she's full of life, and she's a lot of fun.
She's very
Yes.
structured.
But I worked my tail off on that dog, right? So was it difficult? No. Was it time consuming? Yes.
About the first 2 weeks, you were.
First 2 weeks, yes, right. But that's an unusual situation. But the point here I want to make is you've got to know what to do. You've got to set yourself up for success. And if you don't know what to do, then you need to talk to us and we'll help you be successful. So you can call us up. You don't have to buy anything from us. We'll give you ideas about what we think you should be doing. Obviously, we're going to push our products because we know they work. But it's not that we're going to, if you call us up and you say, I'm doing this, I'm not going to say, if you're not buying my product, I'm not going to help you. It's not going to come out of my mouth. You will never hear that from Tami or myself. We'll give you advice and we'll stand behind what we're saying and we'll tell you what we think you should do. And hopefully you take our advice. And some people don't. And so be it, right? But we never say to anybody, you didn't buy my product, go away. People don't use our studs, we still help them, right? We're here to help you. It doesn't have to be difficult. You can do it, but you need to get set up right. And if you do that, you'll make your life easier and you will make yourself more successful and you'll be much happier about the whole process. All right, there we go.
Need to remind everybody, we're going to have a litter of puppies in about it'll be June 1st and June 2nd are the breeding due dates. Full fluffies and fluffy terriers, and there'll be toys and merles and new shade Isabellas and Rojo and Tans and
2 litters coming up. Right, all kinds. So Nacho Line says it's not for the weak. It's not for the, this sounds rude, but it's not for the,
timid and weak.
it's not for the stupid. It's not for the stupid. You're not stupid. I know you're not stupid. You may be uneducated, but you can get educated quickly. And if you get educated, that's what makes you successful. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do any of this stuff. You just have to take you just have to get proven success comes from proven systems that work properly. Right. Hillside Kennels, I want one so as cute and potato-like as Kit is. Love Kit. Kit's retired. She's not having any more puppies, but she's still a great dog. And she could have more puppies, but we decided that she's done enough for us and she just desired to have a good life. So Kit's not having any more puppies. She's in heat right now. It's not going to breed her. Yeah, she's coming in back end of it. Natural line, mutts mixed breeds would be easy compared to French Bulldogs. Well, look, there's certainly some truth to this. I mean, you've got, especially bigger dogs, don't have to have C-sections do really complicate the whole process. They complicate it because you've got to get the timing right. They complicate it because there can be complications from a dog that had to have anesthesia. There can be complications because the puppies come out partially anesthetized. And so they're not really squirmy as they would be if they were born naturally. So their start to life is a bit tenuous. And so you've got to be on your game with having the right equipment for those first few days of French Bulldogs.
And you've got to not be talked into letting the vet tell you that, oh, we'll go ahead and take them a couple of days early. It'll be okay.
I don't know if you can hear
because I'm gonna
Tami.
be out of town. It's
Yeah.
like, no, don't do that.
Stick this on. You can talk to people from over there. You can catch. It's getting to the end. Oh, good Lord. We're already over this thing over now.
Yeah, what I was saying is you need to educate yourself on lots of the breeding and the birthing and make sure that you don't let your veterinarian try to talk you into having puppies early because he's going to be gone the day that her first breeding due dates, there. And because if you let him talk you into a couple of days before, you could lose the whole litter.
That's right. And it's just an awful situation. I hate it.
Yeah, you need to at least have 2 or 3 vets on like standby. Call and find out
Well,
who's going to be around, who's not going to be gone because of graduations.
Here's a friend of
or
ours who came here today
summer.
to get a progesterone
Yes.
test done in preparation for a C-section. He says, I've got a problem. You know, I'm worried that my dog is ready to have puppies Sunday and nobody's open today or tomorrow. What do I do? And the answer is you should have thought about this. And again, I'm not, you know, you should have thought about this 2 days ago because I can't fix this for you.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I can't fix it.
I do
So
mine 2 weeks beforehand.
if you're going to call, so our vets, for instance, they will take our phone call. We've got their private number. They'll take our phone call in the middle of the night. But we have told them beforehand, we are fixing to have a litter and we are going to keep you abreast of what's going on. They're not getting a phone call from us without knowing us. Our vet would not get out of bed for you. It's not because they're a bad vet. It's because they get too many phone calls. You haven't developed a
relationship.
They know that if they get a phone call from me, that we really need their help. And we have never, ever, ever called them up out of the blue at 2 o'clock in the morning. We have called them at 2 o'clock in the morning because I spoke to them at 9 o'clock and I said, hey, I think she'll make it through the morning. We want to try and make this happen. But if anything changes, I'll give you a call. And then the dog all of a sudden starts to have contractions. It's like, hey, Dr. Matusik, dog's having a contraction. He says, get in the vehicle, come here, I'll meet you at the office. It's not going to be available to you if you haven't developed a relationship with your vet where they know that you're a stand-up person, that you are going to... Now, here's the thing that happens. You don't know the vet for shit. They pick the phone up and you say, I'll be in the office in an hour. They get down there and you don't show. That sucks for them. So anyway, I'm going to kind of start winding this down. Let's try if we can get these last questions here. So, Stacey Willis. We have little Pixie now. With all the advice, we have kept her thriving, almost 4 months old. Now she's still under 3 pounds. So how is she doing, Stacey? Is she a pretty fun little dog? I'm hoping the answer is yes. Tell us. Sally says James has courses. Thank you, Sally. That's exactly right. Look, we have about 6 courses. You can go to breeder101.com. It's in the description below. There are courses on how to market dogs. One of our most successful courses. How do we market dogs? We're going to show you what you should be doing so that you can get the dollar that you deserve for your dogs. We've got courses on how to get dogs pregnant. We've got courses on how to time C-sections. We've got courses on how to take photographs of puppies so that you can market properly. Every one of those courses is a streaming course. You don't have to download anything. You can watch it. Excuse me, you can watch on your phone while you're sitting in line waiting to pick the kids up. You own them forever. They all come with a money-back guarantee. If it's crap, you get your money back. And we've got 30% off. We've been running this thing now for a little while, and we keep saying that there's going to be a time frame that we're going to stop doing it, and there will be soon. But it's been successful. A lot of you taken up on this, and you should too, and it's 30% off this next week. Sure. Dave, what do you do if a puppy's poop hasn't been solid since birth? So Hillside says pumpkin. Yeah, pumpkin is a good idea. Canned pumpkin helps firm things up, and then get your wormings done on time. So deworm at 2 weeks.
6,
Yep,
8,
yeah, 2
12,
worms.
14. As long as your puppy's with you every 2 weeks. The Nemax 2, or what was the other name of it?
Parental pay, mate.
The puppies.
Hillside Kennels, James and Tami taught me so much. Calm me down. On my first litter, we lost none and have 6 babies. Great.
You can even give Mama Dog that
right.
Nemax 2 as well.
Yes. Hillside Kennels, what do you use for DNA testing? We use animal genetics. There's lots of places, but I like animal genetics because they're all about the same price, but they're super quick in getting your results, and they're very nice people. Sykes says, thank you for your time the other day. You're very welcome. Oh, Stacey Willis says, not your Pixie. Okay, that's right, because that Pixie went to, can't think of a name. Pixie is now a service. No, that's not Pixie. That's Billy. That's Billy. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, not your Pixie. Ronald White, I got a litter at 12 days and runt will not latch on well. Any recommendations? Yeah, tube feed. That's it. That's it. Tube feed, tube feed, tube feed, tube feed. Every 3 hours, tube feed. Whatever that puppy weighs in ounces, you feed in mils. 10-ounce puppy, 10 mils every 3 hours. That's what you got to do. Lewis Bennett says, thank you, James Tani, and have a happy Memorial Day. And that, my friends, is it. I saw some slimy mucus-looking stuff running down her leg after peeing. That is the mucus plug. It's not an issue at all. It's quite normal. It probably means your dog is pregnant. The mucus dog falls out of a plug typically something between maybe 3 weeks before whelp, all the way up to a day before whelp, or you may never see it.
Take her temperature a week before first breeding due date. Always take the temperature of your females that are pregnant a week before breeding due date and take it once a day. Once that temperature drops to 99.1, take it twice a day, morning and evening. That temperature will tell you a lot when you're fixing to have babies as well, besides the nesting and the panting and the not eating and all that.
Right.
That temperature will tell
Big
you
thing.
a lot.
Big thing. Probably the best thing you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's the first thing a vet's going to ask you when you call and say, hey, she's fixing to have babies. He's going to say,
I think
what's
it's more.
her temp?
I think it's more reliable than anything. It's more reliable than progesterone.
You bet
test.
it is.
Yes. So I'm going to end this now on a really sad note. Hillside Kennels, can everyone please pray for my family? My mum fell and had a brain bleed and passed away yesterday. So
oh no,
we feel for you. That's really a sad situation.
Yes,
and so,
is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're all thinking
Lots
about
of
you
hugs and prayers.
your family and just a tough situation. So
Damn it.
I would say this, you've got to be careful when you get to my age that you don't fall and trip.
I'm going to push you down.
Yeah. So Tammy's trying to make light of the whole thing.
Yeah.
We don't mean to make light of it, but I mean,
No.
you have to be careful, especially as you get older, because you can fall
That's why
and cause serious damage
important
to yourself. It's just really a sad situation.
Exercise.
She was 73. She's
Yeah.
just 3 years older than me. That's just not very old. That's sad.
It's good to exercise, stretch, do yoga.
Yes.
Stretching classes are fantastic.
Yes.
Very important when you get older.
Well, I think one of the things that I see in myself and not so much in Tammy
Dragging your feet
is two things: balance and limberness. Forget the cardio. I mean, I'm sure that's important. Forget the cardio. Forget the weightlifting and all that. That's not the problem. The problem is balance. Balance and I forget what the other one is. It's probably Alzheimer's. This is what's getting to me. What was I going to say, Tammy? Help me out here.
You were saying balance.
Balance and.
I don't know what you were fixing to say.
I don't either now.
You need to exercise. You need to walk.
Limberness. Yeah, but it kind of goes the same thing. It's keeping the ability to keep yourself, where you're fluid, where you're not.
Remind yourself to straighten your back up, pull your shoulders back, and
all right.
pick your knees, legs up.
All right, so we've gone long on this, so we appreciate all of you people who put up with last weekend with our rubbish on the video. We're sorry for that. Well, we probably won't do that again. And hey, for those of you who have got puppies on the ground, go love on your puppies.
Yep.
For those of you who've got some tragedy going on, we're sorry about that, and we feel for you. And for everybody else, enjoy Memorial Day. And remember what Memorial Day is all about, right? So there's Tammy's phone. All right, bye, buddy.